Tonight on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, we have the Week 7 recap. It's time for Garbage Time. Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. I am your host, Ron Seymour, and I'm joined today by Joseph McCann. How you doing today, Joe?
I am an emotional wreck today, Ron Seymour. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster. We saw two XFL quarterbacks, PJ Walker and Taylor Heineke, beat Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I ended up losing Breece Hall in fantasy and in my personal favorite team, the Jets. Their best offensive lineman went down. But hey, they just traded for James Robinson, so talk about a roller coaster ride. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen?
All right. Yeah. So like I said at the top today, we are going to get into all the news that happened for week 7 and do our, good, bad, and trash. Good, bad, and surprising.
God. Yes. And Ron, if you like the show, where can you find it?
Yeah. If you like what you hear, subscribe to us on YouTube at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Make sure you go over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review to help out the show. We can also be found on Spotify and all major platforms that you listen to podcasts on. Make sure you go to our website at www.garbagetimeff.com and leave us voicemail or hate mails. We are on Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football and Twitter at garbage_timeff and also Twitch at Garbage Time FF. Don't forget, we have a contest going on right now for this here signed Miles Sanders card. And all you got to do to be in the running to win this, go over to Apple, leave a 5-star review, then come back here to YouTube, subscribe, like a video, and comment that you are part of the heckling fandom.
And guys, we have a few reviews now up for that card, so it is going to be up for stakes. Only a few, though, so again, leave the comment and join the heckling fandom. And you could be walking away with a card that's valued over $100. I mean, who wouldn't want that sent to them for free? How hard is it to do that, Ron?
It's not hard at all. Just 3 easy steps.
No, absolutely not. And guys, if you have any questions about your teams, how you're going to recover from the Breece Hall injury, like I'm looking to do, leave us comments live on these shows and we'll get back to you. And Ron, are you ready for some news?
I am.
Hit it.
News updates.
Forgot to turn off loop.
What's new? All right, we'll start with the plethora of Jets news because I'm so hyped about it, and then we'll go down the real news and get off my homerism. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, so let's talk about this roller coaster ride of a weekend that we've had for them. They beat the Denver Broncos, but from a fantasy standpoint, Elijah Vera Tucker, they're all over the offensive line player goes down, probably a future Pro Bowler for them. But then the real home wrecker for your fantasy team, Breece Hall goes down, and he was looking like a top 5 running back on the year the way he was playing, even especially in that game against a stout defense. So we have to first compound with that thought, and then you got to think about the value of Michael Carter. And now James Robinson, just an hour ago, traded to the New York Jets. So how do fantasy owners first deal with the injury to Michael Carter, Ron? And what is the fantasy value of Michael Carter and James Robinson on this Jets team going forward?
Honestly, in redrafts, if it's not keeper, you can go ahead and just get rid of Breece Hall. He's not going to be back this year. Tore his ACL. He's done.
Yes.
As far as Michael Carter and James Robinson go, I think they're going to give the bulk of the timeshare to Michael Carter, but I do believe it's going to be probably about a 65-35 split with James Robinson. I don't know about this first week, and they might ease James Robinson in. So you might have a couple good weeks with Michael Carter, but he's not the same running back that Breece Hall is. You're going to see this offense take a huge hit losing him and Vera Tucker.
I agree with that, and they're going to have to shuffle around. I think it'll still be efficient in the running game. They've shown that they've been able to adjust to injuries, but losing Barrett Tucker is just a hit that they're not going to recover from. It's not going to be the same, but it should. I think they'll be all right in the long term. But I actually disagree with you, and I made a YouTube short right before this episode talking about this. So I think that Robinson is the kind of running back that will get the first and second down work after this week. It will not be this week. It'll be Michael Carter this week with him coming in and getting maybe the red zone packages because he's going to have to learn the playbook. But Michael Carter is a little bit more prolific in the passing game. So I think you'll see Robinson on first and second down and Carter getting that third down work. So I think look for Carter to be efficient for 1 or 2 weeks, and then you'll see at least a split with Robinson tending to get the rushing work, I think, on first and second down. Now, whether that's going to actually work and be good for fantasy football, another question.
I think it'll be more along the lines of they are going to split drives and Michael Carter will get the third down work. So I don't think every first and second down it's going to be James Robinson. James Robinson came off that Achilles. Yes, weeks 1 through 3, he looked okay, but it was mostly off of volume. And in, I believe, one of those 3 games, it was just a big run that he got loose for.
But let me remind you, this is a different system, though, and it is very running back friendly. And any running back that's been in that backfield has done fairly decent. I think they're going to not look to get away from that too. So it's going to be a different system, and he's healthy now. So
I agree that he's not healthy. He's healthy, but he's still tore.
He's healthy enough. Yes, he's not at 100%, but he's healthy enough to be. He's not done. What the fuck are you talking about? Saquon came back from his injury, and he is fine. James Robinson is young. He's going to recover.
Achilles.
It doesn't matter. It's a different. Anyway, continue.
How has in all these instances where no one has come back from an Achilles and been their old self, can you still sit there and say that he's not toast? He literally lost all work to Travis Etienne.
They were looking to get him involved. They drafted him in the first round. Of course they did. I didn't think that was going to happen, but they love Travis Etienne. Robinson is not done. He's still not 100%, but he's not fucking done. That makes no sense.
He's done.
My ass, he's done. You
need to wake up.
You need to watch more football. Anyway, are you ready? All the football. All right, you ready to move on to our next segment?
Yes.
All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown was thought to have a concussion, but that is not the case. Are you confident in him going forward for this week?
That would be saying I'm confident in the Lions offense, which over the past, couple weeks just has not looked great. They were buoyed in the beginning of the season by playing some pretty soft defenses, putting up a lot of points and yards against Seattle. Ended up them being like the number 1 offense in the league for a minute. They're not. Like, let's be real, especially without DeAndre Swift. So, if Amon-Ra plays, you have to play him just because he's pretty much the only option in that team, but I'm not confident about it.
Fair enough. And as we have been watching this Bears and Patriots game tonight, Zappe came in and replaced Mac Jones. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that really quick. What is your thoughts on Zappe going forward? Is this going to be a game where he's going to establish himself as the starter, or did they just want to spark? What's the fantasy outlook of these 2 quarterbacks?
I think they'll come out and say that they just wanted to spark, but the fact that they did it so fast.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a halftime adjustment. It wasn't anything like that. It was Mac Jones is out there looking like shit. Like, let's put Zappe in. He's 2-0. Our offense is playing well. They're going to blame it on his injury. They're going to blame it on 1,000 different things just so they have to be like, Zappe's better.
Okay. Speaking of another quarterback, is there something wrong with Aaron Rodgers' thumb, or is this just the system that they're running in Green Bay? What is going on there?
There's something wrong with that offense.
Agreed.
I don't know what it is. And I'm not going to put it 100% on Devontae Adams leaving.
They're bad everywhere. All aspects of football right now.
They don't look good. Do I think they'd be as bad if they had Devontae Adams? No.
No, absolutely not.
Obviously, they, out of these last 3 games that they just lost, they probably would have won 2 of them.
Right.
So I don't think it's all on Devontae Adams. I think there's something going on with Rodgers. Their offensive line hasn't looked great. Aaron Jones has always been hot and cold. And these wide receivers are young and dropping passes, and it's risky.
Next stage of Aaron Rodgers' career, being traded to the Indianapolis Colts, like many veteran quarterbacks.
No, the Colts are going to go get Russell Wilson, and then the Broncos will get
Aaron Rodgers. All right. Jamar Chase was hobbled in the second half of the game. What is your thoughts on the injury for Jamar Chase?
He just didn't want to play anymore.
Oh, is that it?
I have no idea.
I think he would want to play in that game the way that his quarterback was mustering.
I don't know.
Piss missiles.
Definitely keep an eye on it. I don't know the extent of it offhand.
All right. What's your thought about Zeke being banged up in that game, too? He did end up coming back in. Is this something that we're going to have to evaluate? Maybe swelling going forward or what?
Yeah, watch out for swelling. Watch out for practice reports. I think it was just a knee bruise. Mm-hmm. Like you said, he came back in. Probably going to be a pain management thing. And Absolutely. Zeke's a tough guy, so he'll play through it, I think.
All right. David Njoku, ankle seems to be sprained, may miss a few weeks. How do you pivot?
I don't know. He was because he was coming out as one of the more top end plays.
Yeah, he's starting to flower.
Yeah, he was right up there with, you're going to start him every week. He's not in the streaming category anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's hard. So now you just got to go streaming options from here on out.
All right, let's keep on the injury roller coaster. The Denver Post reports that x-rays were negative on Mike Boone's foot. Further testing will be done. I don't believe we've gotten the news on that. Have you heard anything on Mike Boone?
I thought he was put on IR.
Ugh, not good.
I think he was put on IR and he's going to miss 4 weeks.
I mean, that is positive to the Denver running game if you're a Melvin owner, but...
Yeah, well, Latavius Murray's still there, too. I think they're still going to split carries.
Okay, and what is your thoughts on the injuries for the Chargers wide receiver? Mike Williams was told by The Athletic that... Well, he told The Athletic that he had an ankle sprain, and Keenan Allen's hamstring seems to be flaring up. He was limited, could have been coming back in the second half. They said if they needed him, which they lost the game, I think they could have needed him. What's your thoughts on these wide receivers going forward?
They need this bye week coming up to get healthy.
Bad.
I'm surprised Mike Williams is only a high ankle sprain, if that's what they're calling it, because it looked like he fucking shattered that shit.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And last injury news that I've got for you here, Corey Davis is apparently day-to-day. Does it matter, or are you completely off the Jets' passing game going forward, or is this just them playing tough defenses the last few weeks?
I want to say I'm off the Jets' passing game. I think, what's his name? Zach Wilson is averaging like 180 yards a game.
He does not look good.
Yeah, no. And he's missing people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running for his life, and that's not going to get any easier with Elijah Vera Tucker gone.
Absolutely not.
I don't trust this, but losing Breece Hall might open up more opportunities for these wide receivers. We'll have to see how it goes.
It is reported that Elijah Moore is going to be back this weekend playing. He was at practice today. He is back with the team and apparently seems to be backtracking. So, yeah, that kind of happens when some players get hurt and you'd like to get paid someday, I guess, and you kind of see the writing on the wall. So, welcome back, Elijah Moore. With open arms if you help us win.
Trade deadline is next Tuesday. They might want to throw him out on the field. Maybe they hyper target him to make him look good. Maybe they increase the trade package.
Maybe go get an offensive lineman.
You've seen that type of stuff before.
It's true. All right, you ready to get into the weekly recap?
Hell yeah.
Playoffs?
But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
You play to win the game.
All right, holy shit. Let's talk about Joe Burrow. First half, 344 yards, 3 touchdowns, even got some rushing touchdowns in there. So what was going on with the man on fire this week?
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Joe Burrow.
Oh, he just, had a great game.
How did it happen? How did he exploit the Falcons offense? And can we expect him to have winning weeks going forward?
You mean the Falcons defense?
Yes.
His schedule really lightens up in the second half of the year. So yes, he's going to have more big games. They've realized that offensive line that they spent all that time in the offseason on really didn't get that much better. So they're not trying to run the ball as much anymore. Now they're going to go back to what they were doing in the playoffs, I think.
Brandon Ayuk caught 7 of 11 targets for 82 yards. Seems to be more consistent in that 49ers offense. They definitely needed him going up against the Chiefs in a passing outlook. Do you like Brandon Ayuk going forward?
It's risky. Christian McCaffrey's in there. He's going to take up a lot of targets.
He is.
And I don't know how much I trust Jimmy G to supply that many people.
I don't feel comfortable throwing Christian McCaffrey in any three of these categories just because he got traded. So talk about him real quick. What is his outlook going to be on the 49ers this upcoming week?
This upcoming week,
Yes.
I think you see him get a lot of work. And, I mean, in this offense where you just have, I mean, all running backs look good, and now you're getting one of the best running backs in the league. It should be nasty.
Absolutely. Gerald Everett caught 5 of 9 targets for 63 yards. There were some injuries to the wide receiving core of the Chargers. So on top of that good outlook, do you really like him for fantasy football in the upcoming weeks?
I do, because Mike Williams is definitely going to miss some time. Even with a high ankle sprain, he still could miss 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, he played this week, but at any time he could re-aggravate that hamstring. So right now, Gerald Everett is very necessary on a team with a very good quarterback. So yes, I think he's going to be a very good fantasy asset going forward.
Who's the next man up at the wide receiver position for the Chargers after that? Palmer?
Palmer.
Okay. Devontae Adams, 8 of 9, 95 yards, back for the Raiders.
Yeah. I mean, he's an instant start every week.
All right. Let's talk about the dominance of Ken Walker this week. He is just taking off where Rashad Penny is no longer pretty much even an afterthought at this point. 23 times, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Seahawks crushed the Chargers. What is his outlook going forward for the Seahawks? I feel like we've been asking this the last few weeks.
His ceiling is finishing out the year as the RB1. Like
overall?
Ahead of Barkley, ahead of, just because he's going to get all of those touches.
League winning then, huh?
Yeah, definitely. If you have him on your team, you're going to most likely be vaulted into. Just think, if you ended up with him and Breece Hall, like you're okay.
Well, in Dynasty.
Well, even in redraft. I'm saying, like, because where you had to take Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, like, you weren't taking them top. Breece Hall's ADP was what, 3rd, 4th round?
But he's not playing anymore, so that's not the
Right,
case
but
anymore.
that's what I'm saying, is you probably took another good running back in like the 1st or 2nd round.
Yeah.
And now you have Kenneth Walker that you took, what was he, like 10th, I think?
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, you lost Breece Hall, but you have Kenneth Walker.
All right, let's talk about another running back that did very well that you were drafted in that 8th, 9th, 10th before he absolutely skyrocketed late in the draft procedure. Dameon Pierce rushed 20 times for 92 yards against the Raiders and also had 25 yards receiving. Dameon Pierce, awesome, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, definitely going to get all of the work in that offense. And as long as they don't super tank, he should be fantasy relevant.
Okay. And also Patrick Mahomes saw what Joe Burrow did in the 1 o'clock games and decided he wanted to match that. 25 of 34, 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick against the 49ers. And he's getting work to the receivers. Is that going to continue?
I don't think he's going to throw for that many yards, and do that every game. But I will say this, I've been out on Chiefs wide receivers for most of this year.
You may have to reconsider that.
After 2 weeks now, Juju has gotten a lot of targets in both games. He's shown that he's now probably the favorite receiver for Patrick Mahomes. especially like needing first downs and all that. And he's showing the ability to break tackles and, some breakaway speed. So I think Juju is the one to own.
All right, we'll pivot to those guys then too, and then talk about Juju and McCole Hardman. I'm going to throw McCole Hardman in the good category because, good wide
3
receiver.
TDs.
Yeah, great. Juju Smith-Schuster caught 7 of 8 targets for 124 yards and a touchdown against the 49ers. As you said, he's getting a lot of looks the last 2 weeks. You've definitely reevaluated. What is the regular track for him going forward?
I mean, if you see, 7 to 10 targets for someone in this Chiefs offense, they're going to be good. He keeps up with this pace. I mean, he'll finish as a low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2 for the rest of the year.
And McCole Hardman, wow. Interesting week. Is he a waiver priority or is this a flash in the pan?
I think this was more of a fluke. He's going to have these weeks, but he's not going to be relevant every single week.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to combine this one. This is a good and bad, but I really want to talk about this running back tandem because it kind of seems like one is taking the main role and the other is just a heap of trash at this point. So Raheem Mostert rushed for 16 times for 79 yards for the Dolphins. And then Chase Edmonds just sucks now and isn't doing anything for them. His counterpart also got the passing work. So tell me about this Miami Dolphins backfield going into the next few weeks.
Yeah, with Tua back, I mean, this offense is just going to get, better and better. Undefeated when Tua has been the starter for the whole game.
Yep.
And Raheem Mostert's getting all the work. That's what you're looking for. Bell cow running backs on good offenses. So,
okay. And are both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both over 72 yards, Waddle getting 88. So in the same category, still going to finish close to the top 5 by the end of the year with Tua back?
I don't think they'll both be within the top 5. But I mean, we've seen it week in and week out when Tua's there. They're both scoring. They're both getting over 50, 60 yards. And then each one is having their turns with the big monster days. So I think this is definitely the duo that'll be finishing in the top 12 for fantasy wide receivers.
All right. Anything then that I am missing here that you'd like to throw into the good category or highlight?
Josh Jacobs.
Go ahead.
I mean, the man over the past, they had a bye week last week, but the last 2 weeks they played, they've fed him the ball. He has been the cornerstone of this offense.
Well, I threw this into the surprising category because he may have quietly been it's a secret that he scored 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Nobody's even mentioning it. He's doing something for fantasy football, which is going to help you win your league the last 2 games. He's getting the work that we did not expect. And it's
No. You did not expect.
The league, I would say, as a majority, did not expect because there was a lot of talk about that being a committee. And that was also talked about by NFL analysts. And I definitely was feeling the smoke on that one. I thought that was going to be the case. That has not been the case. The Raiders seem to love him, which seems to be working out for the owners that actually drafted him at the great ADP that they got him at. So good for you for reading into that. I definitely did not read into that. So yes, nobody's talking about it though, outside of the few people that actually believed in him this year. So It's kind of still a dark secret.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get into the bad shit that happened in week 7?
I love the bad.
The bad is always a little bit more elating to talk about. So let's talk about the real bad, which is this was kind of Jeff Wilson's hooray goodbye song. Carried the ball 7 times, 54 yards against the 49ers. So not very good. Christian McCaffrey's there. Is he dead for fantasy football for the year now?
Probably. I mean,
that sucks.
7 for 54 is still good.
But he's got to go in the bad category because he's dead.
It's going down. Like he's not, but he's still a high-end insurance piece. Yes. And we know how Christian McCaffrey is.
So if you're the Christian McCaffrey owner, are you looking to potentially trade very little to get him as a handcuff?
Here's my thing. Pivot off of your question.
Go ahead.
How are the 49ers, one of the teams that always gets injured running backs, going to go and trade for one of the most injured running backs ever.
It's a good point.
Like, this poor man's about to die on the football field.
So expect some turf toe this week.
Yeah, something's going to happen.
You may want to trade for Jeff Wilson because Christian McCaffrey's going to be out after this weekend.
Right.
Hedge your bet. All right. This Tampa Bay offense fucking sucks.
Oh
So
my
let's
God,
talk.
it's so
Let's talk
bad.
about this. What is wrong here?
I think it's offensive line. I really do.
Okay, what does that do for in terms of fantasy though? Where's the value here?
I think Leonard Fournette.
So bad.
I think Leonard Fournette will still be okay. And I think Mike Evans should still be okay. Now, if
All
Mike
right.
Evans didn't drop that bomb, he would have had a very good fantasy day.
All right. And we already highlighted Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball seems to be off, but there's nothing else I want to touch here. They just are fucking bad right now.
Yes.
Anything outside of the running backs and Romeo Dubs and I guess Lazard in the slot. Like Aaron Rodgers is unusable at fantasy right now. Like some of his perimeter weapons you can kind of use. Tanyan's all right, but like it just feels so out of sync and so choppy right now.
Yeah, it's not, something's not right. Something's not gelling. I don't think I could put it all on Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't look right. But at the
Agreed.
same time, I mean, how many passes did Romeo Dobbs drop this last game? Like,
Yeah.
you know
It's
what
a
I
rookie,
mean?
though.
Just, yeah. But when you lose to the Giants, Jets, and then the Commanders 3 weeks in a row, something's freaking wrong. And it's not just offense. You don't lose those three teams if you have an okay defense. Like, I mean, you just don't.
Right.
Like, yes, the Giants are 6-1. But last year Packers would not have lost to this year's Giants. You know what I mean? Last year's Packers would not have lost to the Jets or the Commanders. It's just a fact. And that's more than just Devontae Adams. The defense isn't playing right. The offensive line isn't playing right. And these wide receivers are not doing their jobs.
AJ Dillon doesn't look right. He rushed 4 times for 15 yards, and he's just not getting to work.
They're not giving him the work. I don't know why.
No. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers wants to be the one winning the games, and he's prohibiting them from running the ball, which they are actually okay at.
And AJ's been looking good.
Mhm.
It just doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. They really need to lean on that running game and make that
Aaron
adjustment over the
Rodgers
next few
cares more
weeks.
about his numbers than he does about winning.
Yeah, and it's really
And
not
now it's
helping your
tanking
running
both
backs.
of them.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get into the Jets wide receiving core. As I already alluded to a little bit earlier in the show, Corey Davis got hurt. Elijah Moore wasn't playing this week, so the bad goes to Garrett Wilson that went up against that stout Denver defense, caught 4 or 5, but only 24 yards. Is this on Wilson or is this all on the other Wilson, Zach Wilson?
This is on Zach Wilson.
Go ahead and talk about that.
I mean, he's running for his life, which we already alluded to. They were being very running back centric.
Yep.
When it came to the passing game and, just running the ball, a lot of it has been the running back. And now we have to see, are they going to continue that? Michael Carter is a very serviceable pass catcher. I mean, we've seen it last year in the games when it was, who was that quarterback? Mike
White.
He had great games with Mike White dumping the ball off to him. So now we got to see, does Zach Wilson trust him? Does this coaching staff, are they going to try to run it? Not to mention, their schedule gets harder. I think they go up against the Patriots, Bills, and then Patriots the next 3 weeks. Sorry,
gross.
that sounds like 3 losses to me.
Oh, come on. We're going to at least get this one at home this week. The 2 after that may be losses, but give me a little bit of a break here. You've got this idea that we're going to fucking just go on a 5-game losing streak at some point. The defense is stout.
3.
We're going to win one of those 3. And one of them will be against the Pats. The Bills are going to kick our ass, but we'll beat the Pats once.
I don't know. Well, that all depends if the Pats are starting Zappy or Mac Jones.
Okay, yeah, we'll see this weekend. I'm going to that game, so this will be the one that we win. And then we'll lose. Oh, yeah, I know.
Make sure you bring your Kleenex.
I'll bring my Elijah Moore jersey. asshole.
Tell him to sign it and sell it so before he gets traded.
All right, let's talk about their new running back, James Robinson. He did have a performance this past weekend, which may lead to his performance this week on the Jets, but he played for the Jaguars last weekend. Failed to catch anything and had a lone target for the Jags. So, again, you said there was something wrong with him. I will shut my mouth and not say anything because I've already said my opinion. What's wrong with James Robinson?
He's just not explosive.
So mean.
He's not. I mean, that's never been his thing. He's always been a volume guy.
Yeah.
And now the little volume he was getting. So the first 3 weeks, he was getting most of the volume. Travis Etienne wasn't getting much of anything. The last 3 weeks, it's slowly been just going to Etienne because he's the more explosive runner. That's why I don't believe that he's going to ever take over the job from Michael Carter outside of injury. Because Michael Carter is going to be the more explosive runner. So, James Robinson will have a role in this league for years to come, just like Dante Foreman. Because
who I think looks decent off waivers.
Yeah, but he's also been like 5 or 6 years removed from his Achilles.
That's true.
So, there was like 4 to 5 years there where Dante Foreman couldn't
stop right there. We'll get into the surprising category with that.
But so do I think he'll be involved in this Jets offense and help out the Jets offense? Yes. Do I think he's going to do anything that is consistently fantasy relevant? No.
It's all right. He can help ease Breece Hall back in next year, and then they can have 3 decent running backs, and hopefully none of them will go down next year.
And then, I mean, that wouldn't be bad. Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and James Robinson.
Well, Robinson is actually, they have his viability for 2 years. So he is signed for the next 2 years.
That's cool.
So,
that's good.
Yeah, I like it. And they only gave up a 6th-round pick to get him, which could become a 5th if he's decent.
Oh, did you read how that happens?
Go ahead.
So for it to become a 5th, James Robinson has to rush for 600 yards this season. He's already got 324. He only needs something like 264 more yards on the season.
So unless he goes down over the next few weeks, it's
probably going to be a 5th round.
But I think decent value though. It's not that high of a pick to go get him.
Yeah, that's
especially for someone you're going to control at that low salary for the next few years.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Terrence Marshall had an opportunity with Robbie Anderson being traded. Did not capitalize, but it doesn't help when PJ Walker's throwing you the ball. 2 of 3 with the Carolina Panthers. DJ Moore is kind of in the surprise category here, but I want to talk about this now. So talk about this wide receiving core and PJ Walker for the Carolina Panthers. Where is the fantasy viability here? Is there any?
I think DJ Moore is the only one, but even next week, I don't know if I'd start him yet because last week it was PJ, not just yesterday, but last week, I believe it was PJ Walker and DJ Moore still didn't really do anything. This week, DJ Moore did something. No Robbie Anderson.
Right.
Let's see what happens next week. If it becomes a trend where now that Robbie Anderson's gone and they don't really have much else, let's see what DJ Moore does. And let's be honest, no one anywhere thought the Panthers were going to trounce the Buccaneers like they did.
Nope. Vegas won a lot of money on that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Weird.
I would not start DJ Moore yet.
All right. I think Kenya Drake is back to dead after a lot of people wasted a ton of fab on him. You know what? This guy's in the surprise category too, but they're paired together. So Gus Bus Edwards is back in full force off of injury, and the Kenya Drake train is dead. 11 rushes, 5 yards. But Gus Bus looked good, so talk about these two.
I don't know. He had what? Wasn't it like 60-something yards or 80-something yards, but 2 touchdowns?
Yes. So very good for fantasy.
I don't think he gets 2 touchdowns every week.
He won't.
This whole Ravens offense has looked weird the past couple weeks.
Hasn't settled in.
Yeah, I think they'll turn it around. Did Rashad Bateman come back this week? He did, right?
He did.
I don't know. They're missing something. And I don't know what it is.
Another receiver at the trade deadline?
Maybe. But we'll see what happens, I guess.
Elijah Moore.
Man,
I hope not. We need him.
yeah. I'm going to line him up at running back.
Oh, God. That would... Maybe they'll trade for Cordell Patterson.
Maybe.
All right. Let's talk about these Atlanta players, these skill position players absolutely being wasted because all they do is run the ball. But here it is. Kyle Pitts, 3 of 5 targets for 9 yards, and Drake London, 9 yards passing for the Falcons. What the fuck, Ron?
I don't know. I don't know how they continue to run ball when they're losing. I don't know how they could just... They're tanking, right? They've got to be trying to tank. The only problem is there's some games where the just run heavy is just working for them and they're winning games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've got to come out of those games where they're winning after running the ball and being like, how did we win? Like, we ran every play to lose, and yet we still won.
So why change it?
Because, like, I honestly think they're trying to lose.
They are, but they're winning.
But they're winning. And Mariota's
Genius.
like, they're telling Mariota, we want to lose. And Mariota's like, no, I want to show people that I can play football.
Which, he's, going to be a future Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of player with actual rushing upside. That's what he's doing here. He's going to
I
be a
don't think
serviceable
he'll ever
backup.
be as good as Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He'll earn as much money as him if he keeps playing like this.
That's possible, yes.
All right. Last aspects I want to talk about here is the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So Kenny Pickett, off of concussion, surprising he came back in a week with the new protocols, 32 of 42, 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and Najee Harris looked medial. What's going on with this offense?
Najee Harris looked bad. Say what it was. Not medium, nothing like that.
I said medial, not medium.
He looked bad, and he's looked bad all season.
Is he bad, Ron?
I don't think he's bad. I think this offense is bad. You know? You gonna turn it off?
No, not until you admitted Najee Harris is bad this year.
Oh, this year, yes, he's bad. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think this year, this offense is bad until Kenny Pickett can, start making teams fear him, which I don't know if that's this year. Kenny Pickett has looked decent, but he's making rookie mistakes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're going to go out next year. They're going to try to fix this offensive line. And he's got the weapons. They've got the weapons. They need an offensive line. They're going to hope Kenny Pickett takes a second-year leap, and they should probably look better next year. One thing I'm going to like is getting Najee Harris in probably late second, early third round next year in drafts. That's going to be phenomenal.
All right, and last bad aspects of this episode. 2 Chiefs players, while there is 2 decent ones that played good this week. Let's talk about the starter, Isaiah Pacheco, getting less than 30% of the work, and Sky Moore doing nothing. What do you make of either one of these guys?
Nothing. Neither one of them have really done anything all year.
All right, let's move
Sky
on.
Moore shouldn't even been on your team. The only reason Isaiah Pacheco is because they came out and were like, we need to get him more involved, and then proceeded to not get him more involved.
Isaiah Pacheco still on your team this week?
Probably.
Probably. All right, you ready to move to the surprising category?
Yeah.
All right. Tyler Boyd had that surprising game, well over 100 yards in the first quarter. Is Tyler Boyd going to be reliable next week?
If Jamar Chase doesn't play, yes.
So you're playing him if Jamar Chase is not playing. Even if he is playing, are you putting him at wide receiver 3 or a flex spot?
Wide receiver 3 would be okay with me.
All right. Geno Smith completed 20 of 27 passes, 210, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I still can't put him in the good category, but it's surprising. They beat the Chargers. Geno Smith, top 12 at the end of the year.
I mean, he might make his way there. I mean, he could. If he's outside of the top 15, I'd be shocked.
The Seahawks going to make the playoffs?
I mean,
They
aren't they number one in their division right now?
They might be.
They got the Cardinals, the Rams.
The 49ers might be up there with them. Oh, boy.
They gotta be.
Oh, God, are they?
I don't know. Hold on. I need to vet this.
We need to know if the Seahawks are at the top of their division. Oh, God. With Geno Smith. What is going on in the NFL this year? Aaron Rodgers sucks. Tom Brady sucks. And Geno Smith is awesome.
I wouldn't say awesome. Let's
well, I mean, compared to what we thought he was going to be, it's awesome to see him doing good.
Yeah.
He's come a long way from getting punched in the jaw in the locker room.
Oh, my God, yeah. All right, here we go. NFC
West.
Seattle Seahawks at 4-3 are leading their division by a game.
Oh, God. Gross. All right, let's move on to some therapy. Talk about some more players.
I can't believe that they're leading the division.
Oh, I don't know.
The Atlanta Falcons are tied with the Buccaneers for the top of their division.
What are you doing to us, NFL? NFC, get your shit together.
Oh, my God.
All right, let's get back to fantasy relevancy. Greg Dulcich, the Denver offense looked bad, but he looks pretty decent even with a backup quarterback in. 6-9, 51 yards, and the Broncos lost to the Jets. Is Dulcich a good replacement option for maybe those Cleveland tight end owners?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to be pretty good for the rest of the year. He's still going to have weeks where he tanks you, but I think he'll have more good weeks than bad weeks.
What's your thoughts on Jerry Jeudy's week? 7 of 11, 96 yards. People seem to be close to dropping him before. A little bit of a bounce back week. Thoughts over the next few weeks?
Let's see what happens when Russell Wilson gets back.
All right. George Kittle caught 6 of 9 targets, 98 yards, and a touchdown with the 49ers. This was in a loss. It kind of was a game script where they needed to get some passing work in. They fell behind. Do you like George Kittle going forward for the 49ers?
I mean, you have to start him. He's going to have his big games, but he's also going to have his down games like every tight end.
Okay. I don't know if it was you last week, but it may have been – it was you or Ryan. I kind of felt doubted me when I said Davis Mills could potentially have a decent week against the Raiders. He went 28 of 41, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Davis Mills have any nice matchups coming over the next few weeks? Any bad defenses where you think he could actually be a decent fill-in?
I don't know. Let me see if I can't find a schedule real quick.
Go ahead.
Well,
Texans schedule.
They're 1-4-1 right now.
Fantastic.
So let's see. Well, this says they're at Texans. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Where are you seeing your schedule?
NFL.com. I think they got a glitch.
Try Google then.
No, I got it. So this week they play the Titans.
That's actually a very good game script. Titans don't have a great secondary.
But then week 9 they play the Eagles.
That's a very bad game script.
Week 10 they play the Giants.
Not good.
Not great. Week 11 is the Commanders. That's a pretty decent one.
So 2 out of 4 weeks. That's typically how you look at fantasy in 4-week blocks. He's a streamer in the first and last week of that 4-week block. So not bad. I think he could be decent for you for some quarterback buys. I mean, might be some other options out there, but someone to consider for 2 of them. Tyrell Algier rushed 16 times, 50 yards and a touchdown with the Falcons. It's ugly, but he's getting rushing work.
And you know they're going to run the ball.
And he's the one there.
That is wild.
All right.
He's a play until Patterson comes back.
He is. You know who else is a play, I think, this upcoming week? Wasn't even declared the starter by the Panthers. Dante Foreman, who you said 6 years after injury, looked pretty decent last year. Rushed 15 times for 118 yards for the Carolina Panthers. And got some catches in, 27 yards, 2 targets. Is he an immediate start on your team this upcoming week?
Well, he plays the Falcons this upcoming week, so yes.
What's the upside of him? Is it RB2?
No, I think it's high end RB2.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't say low end, but
What are some running backs you'd throw in his range, maybe who you consider playing over him?
in Dante Foreman's range,
Yes.
it's so hard because I'm not sure exactly what his range would be at the moment.
It's so fresh.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to look at the teams right now. I don't know. I would play Gus Edwards over him.
Okay.
I think they're about the same at the moment.
Would you play him over AJ Dillon?
Yes. Yeah.
Would you play him over Michael Carter?
No. I think Michael Carter's upside is better.
DJ Nightmare 14 says, hey guys. Hey to you, man. Join the Eckling Fandom. Make sure to like and subscribe to the show if you want to win a Gridiron Miles Sanders card. Leave us a Apple review too, and feel free to throw any of your questions onto the show too. Nice to see you tonight. Ready to move on to the next player, Ron, in the surprising category?
Yep.
Not many left. We already talked about DJ Moore, so let's move on to Trevor Lawrence, who looked pretty competent this week. I mean, he was not very accurate, as you know, but decent numbers for fantasy, 22 of 43. So as I said, a little bit, I guess, above 50%, which kind of sucks, but 310 yards in a loss to the Giants. 4 carries, 3 yards, and a touchdown. What's your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence going forward?
I don't know. He seems kind of boom or bust, but I think he's got a decent floor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing bye weeks and streaming, I think he could play good, have good weeks for you. Somehow the Giants have been a very good defense to this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because admittedly their schedule hasn't been that hard. I don't think we've beat anybody that currently has a winning record.
Not that matters, though. Just the NFL just gives you what it gives you.
I know, but it kind of matters to me. Next week they have the Denver Broncos, so I wouldn't play him against the Denver Broncos.
I hope you're ready for some of your star players to get hurt. That Denver defense is brutal.
Yeah. Las Vegas Raiders. That's a good matchup. Kansas City Chiefs is going to throw the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 out of the next 3 weeks, not next week, but the next 2 weeks, he's probably a decent stream.
Okay. Talk about your new wide receiver 1, Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 of 8 targets, 50 yards. Looks pretty decent. I mean, it wasn't large numbers this week, but he seems like he's going to take over that role for the Giants. So maybe tough against Denver this week, but talk about Wan'Dale Robinson.
No. Jaguars play the Denvers this week.
Okay, my bad. Anyway, talk about Wan'Dale Robinson's fantasy value over the next few weeks.
High-end PPR flex. Next week, we have Seattle Seahawks, who do not have a great defense. Then we have our bye week in week 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we have the Houston Texans. So over the next 3 weeks, take out the bye. Very good matchups.
Yep.
However, I know our ending schedule for the New York Giants is not favorable. We play the Eagles twice. We have the Cowboys again. Then we have, the Commanders are easy. We have the Lions in there. We have the Vikings, which are pretty good. And, the Colts. But the Vikings, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, very tough matchups.
Is he viable?
But he's viable the rest of the year as a flex because he is our wide receiver 1. He looks like he's very good at football. And he also looks like he's a threat at any time to be able to take one to the house.
Okay.
So,
last player I want to talk about in the surprising category. This is a very good feel-good story. Brian Robinson rushed 20 times, 73 yards, added 2 receptions for 13 yards for the Commanders. He's the starter now, right?
Yes.
What's
And actually, Antonio Gibson had a good day too.
he did, and we predicted this.
Yes. And I don't think J.D. McKissick had much of the opportunities, did he? I think it was all.
Is what we all predicted coming to fruition, where you're going to see Brian Robinson get first and second down and Gibson get on those third and long situations?
It kind of seems like that might be the case, which I think is good for their team.
Are you saying we know what we're talking about sometimes?
Sometimes. We
All
get that
right.
every once in a while.
Absolutely. And I made a special category for one player tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. No, this isn't even bad. Matt Ryan.
No one can hear you with the sound on.
Matt Ryan, clown of the week. Holy shit, what happened?
He got old.
Oh, my God. Talk about it. Is the viability's gone. You can't even play him, right?
So a report, well, no, he got benched. So a report came out earlier today.
It was an injury.
That they benched him. And then it got taken back and said that he had an injury. And then I think it got retracted again just to say, no, he was just benched.
You're getting benched for Sam Ellinger.
Well, I mean, they want to see what the rookie has.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, you got it. I mean, no one thought Zappy was going to come in and do what he was doing either. But
is Big Dick Nick Foles going to come in and eventually save them?
It's a possibility. I mean,
kind of feels like that's the story.
I'm just shocked they're not putting Nick Foles in first. Like, I'm shocked they're actually going to give the rookie a chance at it.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe they want to see what they got with him before, the last gasp, which is try Nick Foles, which a lot of teams have tried over the last few years.
Hey, it worked for the Eagles.
That's right. Any other players we missed, Ron, that you want to talk about in any format?
Nope. It's surprising to me that the Colts aren't going to go with the veteran Nick Foles because they're only one game out of first place for their division.
It is.
It's not like they're out of it at the moment. So either they've liked what they've seen from him in practices and such, or they really didn't like what they see from Nick Foles.
Just one more comment on this Monday night game that we're watching too. Justin Fields don't look bad this week. Good job, Justin Fields.
Holy crap, 23-14.
Yeah, look at that.
Magic wore off, huh?
We'll see. There's still a lot of time, but yeah, I think it has. All right, guys, if you like what you hear on Garbage
80. Oh, that's on third downs.
All right, you got the Monday Night Football out of your system so I can get us the fuck out of here, Ron?
Sure.
All right, guys, if you like what you hear on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, make sure to like and subscribe to the show. We are on so many platforms, too. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Pandora, Amazon, Iheartradio, Tunein. Watch us live on Twitch, on Twitter, here on YouTube. As we said, like and subscribe. Please leave us voicemails at www.garbagetimeff.com. We are on Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football, on Twitter at Garbage_TimeFF. Ron, what is your Twitter?
At HSSI Fantasy.
Absolutely amazing, Ron. And what do you have to do to win this Gridiron autograph Miles Sanders card? And he's been having a pretty good year.
You got to go over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review. Then come to one of our YouTube pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like a video, and comment that you are part of the Heckling Fandom.
Absolutely freaking awesome, Ron. Anything you'd like to say to the Heckling Fandom before we get out of here tonight?
Nope.
Just go, give us an Apple review and win a damn Miles Sanders card autograph. What more can I ask for you guys? I'm trying to say thank you, so take my thank you. Have a good night, guys.